Yeah, it looked like there was going to be a good time.
I love that voiceover that says, "This is being recorded."
Yeah, it scares people sometimes. Let me make sure. I've been,
And people can jump on late. I mean,
okay, honey.
no big. This will be recorded, and I can also send you like a PDF of my presentation too, if you would like.
Perfection. Yeah, I noticed lately with the webinars I have, the people will hop on like maybe like 5 minutes into it, maybe sometimes later than that. So feel free to start when you would like, or if you want to give it a little bit more time. I have some questions if you wanted to go ahead and do Q&A or start your presentation now.
Yeah, I mean, we can definitely do Q&A because I know Sarah had a question and you're here. So, I mean, I want to definitely give you preference for taking time out of your night.
No.
So remind me what your question was.
Well, my question I think has to do with what most people who are new in especially small business is pricing. Pricing your worth, pricing your value, your time. And how do you, because obviously you're looking at, competitors pricing and industry standards and stuff like that. But that's still, something especially that's as new to this area as Darlin is. And there's a million ways that these mobile bars do price themselves. They're like, what am I rolling with? So I guess, that was just, I think something that's really common question for folks is how do you sort of determine your value in a monetary way?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, that's a good question. I think that it depends on like a lot of different factors. So I know you started a year ago.
Yeah.
Do you have a ton of like assets? Have you really invested in your company? Like, I know I've seen like photos of your bar, so I know that you have.
Yes.
So that is like a bunch of like, so all of your benefits and features, that's going to be benefits for you. So I would just hype those a lot because that's also what makes you you and what makes your brand unique and different from everybody else. And I know that's kind of like, okay, vague. But
yeah, I get it.
If you have a certain style and it's gorgeous, by the way, everything you decorate is so beautiful.
Thank you. I appreciate that.
And that it appeals, it's a mass appeal, but it's also like an appealable, like a certain specific girl that wants that look at their wedding or wants that.
Is that Taylor's internet or mine?
Oh no, did I go out?
Yeah, just for a minute.
Yeah.
So you were complimenting my beautiful trailer and then.
It's really pretty. Some people, they don't really make their trailers very pretty, or they think they do, but it's not great branding. It's not great marketing, but yours is really, really well done. Did you do that all yourself?
Yeah, my son and I built it. It took about 7 months for us to rebuild it.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
So awesome.
That's another part of the value question,
Yeah, exactly. And so do you run this with your family or your family
I run
help
it.
you?
I run it. It's me. And yeah, my son will help me. He's a graduating senior. So he's very busy himself, has a not a full-time job, but as full as he can be, and friends and everything else. But he'll pretty much drop everything to help me with an event. So that's pretty great. But
yeah, free labor.
And I need it, girl. I need the free anything.
But hyping everything that like is unique about you and your features and benefits, everything that you add on, because it's not just about the bar, it's about the aesthetic and the look and the feel of the wedding. And also with a wedding, everything is so tied to like emotion. So if you could say, like, tell people your story about working with your son on this, I'm sure that would make brides cry, I mean, that's what makes it so special and dear to your heart, because you didn't just like buy this business and it's not, you don't care about it. Like, this is your baby,
Yeah. Okay, no, I like that. I like playing into the emotion side of it. That's something I
definitely.
Yeah. People do not buy what you do, they buy why you do it. 1000%.
Yeah. Cool. Thank you.
Yeah. And you can also like add in benefits like exclusivity. Like if you wanted, like, I don't know, you could even go work at like wineries in the wintertime or off season for weddings, and say, hey, you don't have any alcohol. I do. Let's team up because it's also down season for them. I mean, there are
Oh,
many,
the
many
internet.
things. There
Freezing
are
again.
so many things you can
There we
do.
go.
Yeah. So hope that was helpful.
No, it was. I think, it's such a hard, there's not a set way to do it, and that's the tricky part. And also when you're, like I kind of grew up without, so I think to myself, like, what would I have paid for that? But then I'm like, no,
Yep.
I mean, I would pay for it. I do pay for it, but I
Right.
would, so there's a lot of different factors, who your clientele is, who's your preferred, who you're marketing towards, so I know it's like not a set thing, but.
And also in the wedding industry, though, I mean, you can honestly mark your price up probably higher than you have it now, because the wedding industry is, I mean, when I got married, I was like, oh, I will never get married again. It's so much money to get married these days. So, I mean, it's kind of like par for the course. I mean, industry standards, but definitely like make sure you're valuing yourself and your worth, because I also don't come from like a ton of stuff. So I also sometimes I'm like, ooh, is, $275 an hour, which is what I charge people at my law firm. Is that too much? I don't know, but I've been a lawyer for 8 years and I own my own business and I have a lot of experience and knowledge. So it's worth it.
No, it
but
is. Yeah.
I don't charge anyone on my business blog that much money, just FYI, but at my law firm, I do.
I got you. Yeah.
So do you have any other questions, Melanie?
Well, I was going to play into what Sarah, brought up. I'm an artist also, and it's like I struggle with that in the sense of I want it to be affordable, but I'm not always thinking about how much time and material and whatnot and thought and everything I put into my artwork.
An emotional
but then
effort
I noticed, like,
too.
right now it's not selling, so I feel like it's affordable, but it's still not selling. But that also could just be marketing on my part.
It also could be the market right now, because I will say that even for at my law firm, I do primarily family law, and even to get a divorce right now, which like a lot of people are more willing to pay for a divorce than anything else if they really, really need one, It's still really, really hard to get money out of people. And we've actually dropped our retainer so that like a normal everyday person can come in and still get a divorce and then make payments later. But that upfront requirement is like $1,500 less than we would normally charge, because everyone they're tapped out on savings right now.
People are.
Yeah, that's true. Because I guess during the pandemic, either they lost their job or they had to quit or just decided to quit and trying to bounce back from that and affordability and stuff.
Yeah.
So
and I would definitely say for artists, like you need to price your emotional factor too that goes into it, because when you create a piece of art, that's like a huge piece of who you are as a person, and that counts for something. I know that we don't want to like value our own thoughts and opinions, but it truly, especially with art, like you're really like giving a part of yourself.
Yeah, no kidding. And I mean, sure, like Sarah's blood, sweat, and tears probably obviously went
literally,
her business.
So, and it is a hard thing to do. It's a hard thing to price, and a lot of your pricing, at least at the beginning, will come from what you were saying, Sarah, like of research and competitors. What are they charging? Because you don't want to be underpricing or overpricing yourself in that in your own market. Let alone
is it okay to like be zooming in on what the competitors? I mean,
that's
what I've been doing.
I will literally, if I find a good sales page on someone's website, I will print it out and I will not copy it, but I will copy the format of it and I will use words and phrases that I like from it because it works. And that's not plagiarism. That's just using the internet.
Right.
Yeah, I do that too.
Melanie, I think it's so hard for you because, art is so personal. So what I would find value in with art will be completely different than somebody else. So I could see that being a real challenge and really just kind of guessing, at what it's worth.
Yeah.
But I don't think your ability has anything to do with your sales right now. I mean, I just think of gas. I just filled up my gas tank for $60. And I'm like, that's crazy, you know? And then you're thinking, you know, so obviously we all have that, right? That like, okay, we need to eat. Oh, Jasmine's here.
Provide
Hey,
safe
Jess.
fire departments.
Yeah, I don't think it has anything to do with your art either. I think honestly, your art is a little underpriced. If
You,
I,
that's what you said? You're saying
Yeah.
it is underpriced, babe? Okay.
Responsibility that is only.
yeah, like that emotion that goes into, and again, I know the supplies that you use are super expensive too, so.
Mhm. Have you
I
got like,
appreciate you being honest and saying I'm underpriced, because like now I just need to value myself and my work, and that is just,
Yeah, and for you, you can also tap into the emotional side of people. Like you can write on your website, like in the description of your art, you know, the emotional side of the story and creating your pieces of art and like what went into it or your thought process. Because I love buying art, but I also like when I get to meet the artist and like actually talk to them about what the piece is about. Because if it's gonna go in my home, like I really want to know
the story?
what the story and what it's about, because it's going to be a piece of me, a piece of my life.
Territory did the United
I would pay
States
more for that.
France in 2003.
you. Fair enough. Hi, Jasmine.
She just had to be muted for a minute.
Okay, Levy. It sounds like you got something going on, but we wanted to say hi and we're acknowledging your presence. Yeah, so I appreciate you saying that. I feel like I'm laughing because my art is not something that goes in everybody's home. My art is very, yeah, like you said, it is emotional. It's weird. You know, Girl Flock Party is like the fun, happy side of me, but I'm also very moody and dark, and you know, I have tattoos and I like rock music. It's really weird. I think I have multiple personalities. Like my office, if I turn this on, it would be it's full of flamingos. So
yeah.
but yeah, I get like my art is kind of moody and dark, and that's not something anybody's just gonna throw up in a family home. That might be somebody more of a edgy collector.
I'm a person, if it's something speaks to me, if I see something, like if you painted something or did something, I was like, oh my God, I love that. I wouldn't give a crap if my house made it work, personally, because it's so special that you're like, and really that would be a good talking point if you had this really like whimsical sort of decor style, and then here's this moody piece. People are like noticing that doesn't kind of go with everything else. It's a story. Yeah. And I think that's, you know, that's awesome.
Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I don't want to make this a Melanie show, but
no,
I don't really get that insight, and I think I right now my life is about Girl Flock Party and making this what it is and having this community. And I think my art and then introducing myself to people and showing like my day-to-day and all that on my other Instagram with my art is kind of falling to the wayside. But
it's hard.
Anyways, I appreciate that. We can talk about that later. Making sure my dog doesn't bust in here. I had a question also about like trademarking versus copywriting. I know some of it, and that wasn't like just me randomly firing off something. I do know, but I kind of wanted to help other people too.
Yeah, I don't know very much about that. That would be cool.
So the difference between
frozen.
Oh no.
That's better.
Am I back?
Really intently listening. There she is. Hey, Tay.
Okay. I was like waving and okay, no one was there. Sorry.
She was like,
I'm at my office, so the Wi-Fi should be better here than my apartment, but Lord knows.
That's all right.
Sorry. Okay, copyright. So the difference between copyright and trademark is going to be for a specific like word or like your brand name or a phrase or something like that.
Okay. Yeah.
Copyright can be really for anything. It can be photos, it can be video, it can be words, blogs, art. Yes. And really, okay, so everything, as long as it's like produced and published and put out into the world and not just like hiding in your dark closet that no one ever sees it, is you automatically have a copyright on it. But you also have the right to get like a formal copyright through the federal government. And that actually entitles you to like a bunch more damages. So if your content was stolen and you did have to hire an attorney and go through that awful process, then there are very, very limited damages that you can actually recover through just a general copyright, because you have to either tether someone by law or tether someone by a contract. And if you don't have some sort of, if the federal government does not have that formal copyright, that federal law does not apply. Even though it is copywritten, you can't seek damages under that federal law, which is weird, but yeah.
Nice.
And then on your website, you need to also have terms and conditions, which lay out those copyright provisions, and then that tethers them by contract. Because technically, terms and conditions are the contract terms of your website.
Contract. Okay, that's something I'm a big dodo about. Like, I was trying to avoid
because it's what we're going
doing
over
like terms and
tonight.
conditions and the privacy policy and all that, but
It's a nightmare. No one ever wants to talk about it or do it because it's boring, honestly.
Yeah.
But it's so important. And honestly, I didn't, even being an attorney, I had to go back and rewrite my own website's terms and conditions because they weren't good enough after I started doing research to like put together a real presentation and to tell people about it.
Right.
So
I might have to hire you to do that. I you know, like we talked about earlier, you know, if you really like something, you know, you can go off of that from somebody else's stuff. Obviously I can't be completely verbatim, that's plagiarism, but I mean, that's how I've learned a lot of stuff, is just doing my own research and finding things like that. But I just feel like there's so much jargon in there that I don't understand.
Yeah, and then you also don't know what. So let me start the presentation because I get into a lot of this and I can answer all your questions. So
nice segue. I did that on purpose. There you
right?
Go. And Jasmine's here. She's probably like, "Come on, chop chop. Let's talk about four mistakes small business owners make." All right.
Yeah, probably.
I guarantee I'm making these. I already know that I'm making these. I don't know what they are, but I'm like, this is going to be like Sarah's day-to-day, what she does.
See, I already boo-booed. I don't have terms and conditions.
Oh, so many people don't. Like photographers don't, and they're one of the biggest that need them because like all they do is take photos, and that's what's on their website. I mean, it's your stuff can get stolen at any time. So making mistakes. So I'm Taylor. Just a little introduction to myself. I didn't really tell you anything about myself. I own this law firm right here at Ferguson Tomanka Law with my husband. I am Taylor Tomanka. I did not change my last name. My husband's last name is Fergus. That's just what I did. I am also a super lawyer. So 2.5% of lawyers in Texas get this nomination as being a super lawyer.
Yay.
So it's a big deal. And I've been nominated 4 times, the last 4 years in a row.
Wow.
So, yeah. So I know a little bit of something here.
Yeah.
And I also own my blog, the Extra blog. So I like to say, like, in Mean Girls, like, I'm not a normal attorney. Like, I'm not a normal mom. I'm cool
mom.
Yeah. I'm cool, I promise.
Oh, Mean Girls, I'm a cool mom.
Yeah. I'm not a normal attorney. I wear jeans to the office every day. I come in at 10 every day because I can and I want to. And I have my office decorated like a house because I think it needs to be very accommodating and accessible to everyone. And people are very nervous coming to an attorney. So I like to be a little different. I also just don't believe in being like a stuffy old white man that acts like this and talks down at you the whole time. I've worked for them, been there, done that, hated it. So
in the patriarchy, sorry, that's my feminist side coming out.
Exactly. And I mean, if you could tell from me not changing my last name, I'm also a feminist. So just can't stand that. But I also have a style blog. So I also am a creative as well. So I have the logistical side of me and as well as the creative side of me. My legal blog used to be completely just a style blog, style and lifestyle, fashion, just a bunch of fun stuff during the pandemic. And I moved to Austin and restarted my business here in Austin, or in Round Rock technically. And kind of had to dedicate all of my time and energy to my business. So that fashion kind of fell away. I still have an Instagram extra blog, but I no longer, I will post like a daily photo, not even maybe a weekly photo, to be honest. But I don't spend time at it. Now I spend time
Melanie.
business.
I'm sad, Tay Tay, your internet keeps getting crunchy.
Oh, well,
It's all right.
if this is being recorded, so and it will record on my side of the screen, so the recording will surely have everything I'm saying.
Okay.
If you need to go back, I'm sorry. And if you need me to repeat something, just tell me, because I don't notice when I stop because I'm like looking at my screen.
Yeah, because
I was
we're
gonna say, if you see me doing this, like, that's me. Being
Okay.
like, oh, crud, she's stuck. Okay. Anyways, be quiet, Melanie. Go ahead.
No, thank you for letting me know. So the four mistakes we're going to be going over is not having a business structure, which opens you up to personal liability. Not knowing some basic advertising laws opens you up to fines of over $43,000, which is insane. And not opening your online shop properly leaves you open to product and service liabilities. That's opening your shop online on your own website. You need to have what we're talking about, those terms and conditions. And then not having a contract. So you're gonna lose payments because people don't have to pay you. They won't pay you. People don't pay me all the time, and I'm a lawyer. So I know you guys are not getting paid all the time, at least not the entire chunk of your payment. And then also you're also opening yourself up to personal liability, which we will go over. So mistake one, not having a business entity in place. Do y'all, those on this Zoom, do y'all have LLCs in place?
I don't. I'm sole proprietor right now. And I'm this year I will move over to LLC. And maybe I can chat with you about that. But yeah, we'll talk about why I made that choice.
Yeah.
Looks like Jasmine says she just opened her DBA. She's
Okay.
Jasmine.decor. But yeah, and I'm an
Okay.
artist, so I was just like sole proprietor.
Yeah. And that's very, very typical for a new business to not have an LLC. It's like super, super common. So don't feel like
frozen again, babe.
The one.
It's okay. You got you, girl. You're good. You're good now.
Just saying that this is super common for new business owners to not have an LLC. So you're not alone in this. This is a very common thing that people just don't do because they don't know the risks associated with it. And they think like, that's just never going to happen to me. But if you're an attorney, people come to you and they literally cry to me and I wish I could help them beforehand. So that's what I'm doing for y'all. I'm going to tell you why you do not want a DBA or a sole proprietorship.
That's good to know.
But I do want to say I'm not being judgmental at all because this is like stuff that no one knows. No one knows this stuff. Like, so don't ever feel bad. This is a no judgment zone. There's no stupid questions. This is all totally new information. Don't feel bad. So a lot of people think that you can set up your formal business and you're okay for liability because you have business insurance. And that is not true. So most people's business insurance, even if it goes up to a policy of $1 million, I mean, if someone gets truly injured on your premises or under your care, then that liability claim could well over be millions of dollars. Especially if you have a continuing injury that, impairs their ability to make money in the future. You're going to be paying for that person for a very long time. So that could easily exceed your liability insurance policy, and then you're going to be personally liable. And that means that they can come in and like take all of your money out of your bank account without your knowledge, just totally garnish all of it. Luckily in the state of Texas, they cannot kick you out of your home because we have what's called the homestead law. So you will be able to keep your home. The state of Texas does not like to make people homeless. So that's a good thing, but that's not true for all 50 states. So some people could possibly lose their home. and literally everything out from under them. So if you do not set up some type of business entity, you do default to that sole proprietorship or DBA like you guys have done. So we're a partnership if there's 2 or more of you. You don't have to have anything in place at all to create a partnership. You just have to have an oral agreement to have a business.
Mm.
Can y'all see me? I just got a notification that said my internet was unstable.
Yeah. We couldn't for a few seconds, but we can now.
Okay. Gosh. So the truth is that a DBA and a partnership and a sole proprietorship don't cover you liability wise at all. There's really no reason to even have one. The only reason that they exist is so that the government can tax you. That's it. So yeah.
And they do.
And they do, exactly. They will find you. But those documents that you turned in to do the DBA or to do the sole proprietorship to make you form that business entity alerted the state that you were opening a business, and that's how they know to tax you. So that's essentially the only reason that the entity exists. It provides absolutely no coverage whatsoever. So that's why I say do not do it. But so many people just have no clue.
Yeah.
Because honestly, most people that I speak with don't have an LLC. They have a sole proprietorship or they haven't done anything at all. So again, like super common. There are tons of ways that you could be sued, especially if you have employees, because you just can't control their behavior. So solution, form a business entity and adopt that formal business structure. So I will give a copy of this PDF to Melanie. Totally blanked and your name is right there. So I'm not going to go through like a ton of this in detail like on my slides because I want to be able to like talk with y'all again and like have more of a discussion, but I want to get y'all through this with enough information that it makes sense. But I can walk you through exactly, or you can just read these instructions on exactly how to do your LLC with the state.
Sarah's laughing at me because I'm scrunching my face because your internet got mad.
Every time it happens, I look at Melanie and she looks like her head's gonna actually pop off her body. She's like,
"Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel so bad."
I'm not mad at you,
my
Taylor.
office would be better.
Honey, I'm not mad at you. I'm just like, of all the things, because I know it works best at your office versus like home, and it's being that way tonight. I'm like, why does that always happen? That always happens with me in an important meeting.
Right?
And my dog's yelling.
Okay. Example 1. One of 3 owners of an LLC got a little confused, siphoned some money to the tune of about $100,000 from the LLC's client into his own personal bank account. Who's going to be liable? So in this instance, the LLC is going to be liable to the client, and the employee is going to be an employee is going to be personally liable to the LLC. So the LLC can still recover through the employee. That is a lot more difficult than recovering through a company because they just have more assets than an employee. Because you can't, what's the phrase? You can't squeeze water out of a turnip. I mean, if there's nothing there, there's nothing there. So that's really sucks, but then you can be then liable to the client themselves. So in this instance, there's an LLC. If there's not an LLC, you would be personally liable to the client. So they could also sue you and garnish your bank accounts. Example 2, an employee runs over someone during a delivery and sadly that person dies. Later it's found out the delivery driver was drunk while on delivery duty. So in this instance, the company is going to be liable. They can be liable for a multitude of reasons. They could be liable for improper hiring if this person had, continuous TWIs they didn't check into because you were supposed to check someone's background record before you give them a vehicle. You could also, obviously, you're going to be liable for the person's death. That's also going to be millions of dollars. You do not want to be personally liable for that. And again, in that instance, possibly the employee could again be liable, but you're going to be jointly and severally liable, which means you're both liable for the same amount of money. So again, you can't squeeze water out of a radish or turnip. So the employee basically gets off in this instance because the company is going to be the one that really foots the bill. And the person that the other side's attorneys are going to go after, because you go after the person with the big pockets.
Yeah.
Which sucks. Oh, this skipped the very end of the presentation. Okay. Okay. Mistake number 2, not complying with online advertising rules. Okay, so, and I don't think that anyone just blatantly doesn't follow advertising rules. I don't think anyone knows about these advertising rules. So there are certain disclosures you have to make for certain endorsements done. And the Federal Trade Commission, the FTC, is the one that is in charge of this. They're in charge of all fraud, misrepresentation, deception, as far as consumers go. And they have been coming out this past year. They sent out notices for those $43,000 fines, sent them out to 700 businesses, which is more than they've ever done before. So I think that they are on a trajectory to start, because they've started notice influencers and how they influence people. And I'll show you some examples here in a minute of how it can be really, really dangerous for people. Even if you're not trying with, malintent or anything, but if you don't follow specific rules and disclose specific things, it can potentially be very dangerous for people. And the FTC actually views an endorsement, like say, what an endorsement is, like a celebrity endorsement, is the same as a testimonial, same as a customer saying, this is my review of a product. Same thing for the FTC's purposes. And an endorsement also encompasses any advertising message that is going to affect the viewer's perception of a product or service. It's so much. So if you sell any of these things, or even if you say everything you have is made in the USA, there are actually federal laws that govern all of these things. So you have to comply with the specific federal laws. So a big one I see for small businesses is jewelry. There are a lot of really small businesses out there that do not follow federal laws disclosures on jewelry. And I also see a lot of made in the USA, and I don't know that they're specifically within that regulation. Like every single tiny little thing, like every person you talk to, everything has to be within the USA. Nothing can be outside of it.
So can I stop you real quick?
Yeah.
So testimonials and endorsements, can you give me an example, and maybe you're coming up on it, of where
Yes.
that would happen in like real world sort of situations, related to kind of our little businesses here?
And let's skip to that because it probably just makes more sense, because you know what an advertisement is.
Yeah.
And there are, and I can always go back if I need to, specific regulations that they've laid out for social media, and I can go back if we need to, but I'll get to these examples. So, so an endorsement example: skincare company, skincare products advertiser participates in a blog advertising service. Or like in my text over here. The service matches up advertisers with bloggers who will promote the advertiser's products on their personal blogs. The advertiser requests that a blogger try a new body lotion and write a review of the product on her blog. Although the advertiser does not make any specific claims about the lotion's ability to cure skin conditions, and the blogger does not ask the advertiser whether there's a substantiation for the claim, in her review, the blogger writes the lotion cures eczema and recommends the product to her blog readers who suffer from this condition. So I see this a lot with CBD products and beauty products. You cannot make medical claims of a product. Not even the product can make medical claims ever at all. So saying that you are curing eczema is something not even the company can say, because it's just, first of all, just not true. And it's misleading because it's lotion. It's not, there's no medicinal properties in it whatsoever. So you would need to do something, the blogger needs to, in this case, if she's going to review a product like this at all, needs to have a medical disclaimer on her blog saying that she's not liable for that medical information. Because if she does not, and someone uses a product and, you know, gets a rash, which happens all the time, that blogger could then be personally liable for that person's medical costs because they're required to make those claims. And as a blogger, you're also required to ask those questions. You can't just receive a product and knowing that it has, you know, some sort of gonna have a perceived perception of this, that you have to ask those questions and be knowledgeable about what you're putting out into the world and what people are gonna believe. Especially if you have like 100,000 followers, like people are going to believe whatever you say. And then the advertiser is also probably going to get hit by the FTC for not giving this required information to the blogger at all, because it would be investigated and traced up to the advertising company. And advertising companies and social media companies, people that are marketers and saying that they're gurus and experts, those are really the people that the FTC is going after right now, because they influence so many other people down the line of how they work and do their stuff. So those are the ones that are really getting hit. And I've seen so many small businesses pop up on Instagram lately that are like, oh, you know, I made 100,000 followers in 30 days and you can too. You can't say stuff like that because they can sue you, because yes, it happened to you, but chances are it won't happen to anybody else.
Taylor, you're cutting out, babe.
Oh, dang.
Can you go back to the where you said, I have 100,000 followers, and then because then it cut out, but I want to hear what you have to say here.
Yeah. So if you say like I got $100,000 and 100,000 followers in 30 days, you can't say that, because technically that's only your experience, and you have to disclose a typical experience of your product. So if you have to disclose, which is a lot different, right? Because, and if you don't, you can be personally liable to that other person, or if you have an LLC, you're not. Your LLC would be liable, but they could still sue you for making those claims because their business fell apart. And that is a legitimate claim because they need to be making those disclosures. So this is an example I found of a website, a beauty website that is actually doing it right. They did a medical disclaimer. So they focus on beauty and happiness. And I didn't scroll down for the rest of it, but it's just a general medical disclaimer that, and it doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to hire an attorney or do anything like that, but you could go online and find something like this, and it's going to be sufficient as long as you're making that effort to make those disclosures and tell people the truth. Then the FTC is going to leave it alone.
So if I said like hiring Darlin's Wandering Bar, or being a guest at a party for Darlin's Wandering Bar will in fact make you a better dancer, once you've had one of our cocktails, or I don't, most I would think, but I mean, there's people just are out there to sue too, and you know this, Taylor, as an attorney. I mean, there are people that are just trying to. My grown-up job is I'm a commercial insurance agent, so we do this kind of stuff all the time too. But
you definitely know that, yeah.
Right. So you just wanted.
Yeah, my 9 to 5, I work for an insurance company too. Isn't that crazy?
You do.
Nice.
Yeah, we do the retired teacher benefits for all the state employees and then like retired teachers all over the country and stuff. But we sell all their supplemental insurance and.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
Bless your heart.
I was gonna interject real quick. So like, I know on Instagram, I feel like I wanted to kind of pinpoint on us because we're all trying to market ourselves as small business owners and creatives, but like I learned, because I was getting all into the influencer side of things there for a bit, and I learned you need to have like a paid partnership thing, or you need to put the word ad, #ad, or #gift. If it's a sponsorship, stuff like that. So,
yes.
Yeah.
And I was just
thinking about that for us, like if we're all getting on Instagram.
Yeah. So I can go back over that because I just happened to skip it. So yes, social media postings, it does govern. all social media postings, you have to essentially communicate that you're being sponsored clearly.
Yep.
And they need to also appear before the read more portion where it goes ... read more. It needs to appear
Okay.
beforehand. So if someone was scrolling through, it would automatically pop up, which sucks, I know, but like, again, you got to be transparent.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's good.
So you can also say things like, you know, brand partner or brand ambassador. But if you are being gifted something or being paid, those are both technically sponsorships. So you have to disclose that it is an ad or sponsored.
Now, Taylor, so I'll do either or both, but as long as one of them is in there, is that okay? Like, if, you know, because I try to put like sponsorship, sponsor, all that stuff, gift, all in my hashtag cluster.
I would just do one. You just need to do one and done, and that makes it clear. And you can, I mean, it doesn't matter. Like, you can put all those in there. I will say though, I just finished a headband campaign for my style blog, and it was like my largest campaign I'd ever gotten. It was, you know, pretty big for my small, tiny 2,000 followers group. And I noticed that when I did the toggle where you can click like paid partnership, I did an A/B test where I did one with the paid partnership and one without, and the one without the toggle did a lot better. And both of them had that like hashtag ad on it, so I was covered by that, but I didn't toggle the paid partnership. And I've also heard from other influencers and bloggers and Facebook groups and stuff that they have had more luck without the toggle. So I think that Instagram is doing something with the algorithm with those specific types of posts. I would not use that toggle.
Okay. Yeah, I thought it was kind of like helpful in the sense of like, okay, well, maybe it'll blanket everything, you know, to deal with the hashtag. But then I'm like, I'm still going to use hashtag.
Yeah. And I mean, some people really are really against like hashtag ad because it's just so blatant. But I mean, what is wrong with, you know, selling something that if you really believe in it? Otherwise, you shouldn't be selling it, right?
Absolutely, 100%.
So,
but you are teaching me in the sense of like, I always put my clusters at the bottom, but I did notice when you had your giveaway, first thing, hashtag ad. So I might need to start obviously doing that a little more. Oh, CBD rundown. What kind of?
so this is on my blog. But I was just going to show you another example of medical disclaimer. Like, so this is or what one looks like on a blog. Go through all of the fun stuff, explaining.
Okay.
Come on. Cool. Did I just freeze for y'all? Just froze for me too.
The whole thing frozen.
Cool. Okay. Did I skip a ton? Okay, we're just gonna skip that because that video is messing us up. So this is what you were talking about the other day, right? With the ad part. What am I?
Yeah, darling.
It was not this one. It was
not you, Sarah. Taylor, darling. Me and my stinking
Confusing me.
Nice Sally.
This is what you were talking about.
Yes. Well, yeah, I see that you have paid partnership at the top, but I did notice this where you put.
Yes. So this was the one I did try with the paid partnership toggle, and you can again utilize that, but it just wasn't working for me for some reason. And again, here I have the ad before the more.
I was going to ask you, Taylor, too, when I'm always, you know, every time we get a sponsor for the annual event next month, do I need to be putting hashtag sponsor beforehand, everything? Or is it just like ad related things?
That's a good call on that. Okay. So in this instance, it's not an ad because they're not paying for that ad placement. They're paying for the sponsored event. So as long as they're not, they are being benefited in a way. God, but it's not an ad.
You pay for sponsorship? Tell me what I need to do.
Sponsorship package. Do you include like social media like as part of the package. Okay, then yeah, it's an ad then.
Okay, I have homework to do tonight. No, that's okay. I don't want to get in trouble. So
I'm glad
I'm
you
also
asked me
letting-
because I honestly like have never even thought about that example. But yeah, if it's included specifically as part of the deal, then technically that is what they're paying for. So yeah.
Yep. So do ads in the beginning of each sponsorship announcement. Okay. Ooh, sorry to hijack this, guys. I'm also
No,
wanting the
I'm
girls to know
glad.
too, because you did a giveaway, I did a giveaway recently. I don't know if you other ladies will plan to do giveaways, or girl flock parties to me is like, what if we all decide to collaborate and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
I've reached out to Sarah about doing a panel too. So
Yeah.
just things like that. I want us to learn how to do our marketing right on Instagram.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I was going to ask you after this if I could like just come back on and do more of these, because I mean,
Yeah,
I love
cool.
teaching people, and
Yeah.
I mean, selfishly, it helps me for you to know more. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I'm totally up to do more of these. Specifically, probably one on like copyright and trademark. People would probably be interested in that, especially if it's like a big creator group. But whatever, like, that's why I was trying to get you to do or you did do this, but trying to get you to do the poll to ask questions, because I'm trying to kind of gauge like, what do people want to know about? Because like I can sit here and do a PowerPoint all day long, and talk until I'm blue in the face, but it really doesn't do any good if I'm not really connecting with people, because this is boring stuff. I need to be connected and know what you want to know about. So.
And so far, I mean, I think that you're hitting topics that almost everyone is going to run into or be part of their business. So
Good.
Yep.
Yeah, I'm glad. I just really quickly, I did want to show you something that that actually did turn into a very dangerous situation for people.
Oh no.
I don't know if you guys know her, Real Brittany Dawn. She's a Texas blogger. She was a fitness turned Christianity influencer, because she was essentially telling people with eating disorders that she had specific special training, or if she didn't blatantly say it, she led them to believe that she had specific special training, and specifically, like how much food you should eat after recovering, and like, things that are very, very dangerous for someone that's a recovering like bulimic or something like that. So a group of girls got together and sued her over it, and she is currently in the court system being sued. And I don't know if she has an LLC or not, but I know that she didn't do any disclaimers, because that's why she's being sued. So not only did she blatantly say things that she's just not allowed to say it at all, she didn't have any disclaimers on her website and mitigating any of her damages. So she's really, really on the hook, and that's why she's completely switched to this whole like Christianity thing. And I've looked at her stuff. It's basically like, feel sorry for me, I'm a pretty white girl.
yeah, I was gonna say she's like straight up Dallas Fort Worth area. Like if you
I'm from Dallas, so
that lives, it's that gal. She's that person.
Yeah, I'm from up there, and I got here as quick as I could, as you can tell. But yeah, that's pretty on point up there.
An example of being like extremely dangerous, from persuading people to do like imitation pearl earrings. So technically, if it's an imitation pearl, there are specific disclosures that you have to give for what type of pearl it is and how you got it and how it was manufactured. And then you have to disclose it. So like this diamond earring, the 3/4 carat diamond earring, the 3/4 carat is actually, again, like federally regulated. So you have to disclose exactly the exact cut of the diamonds. So it's very specific, and it doesn't necessarily affect people on this level until you get really big, or you're using an advertising company that is using unethical practices. And then that way you can also possibly get in trouble. But if you have a small business and you really don't leave city, then you should probably be fine as long as you don't blow up on Instagram. But to this level, you should still be doing the right thing. But I mean, to this is very, very specific. I don't think I've ever seen a single small business jewelry owner, ever give any disclosures. And you're just leaving yourself open for liability, and whether or not you're going to get in trouble, that's just open for debate.
That's you.
It is
There you
me.
go.
And this was a giveaway. So Jen Thatcher is an artist that I'm obsessed with. She's from Dallas, and she did this giveaway and actually laid out the correct disclosures here on Instagram to do it right. So again, kind of what you were saying, Melanie, when you have a giveaway, you need to be disclosing that for some reason you have to say that it's not affiliated with Instagram. I don't know why that's a rule, but it's Instagram's rule, so it needs to be in there.
Mm-hmm.
And also another thing on here that she did not include that I would just make a note of, including if you do a giveaway, I always include this. I always say that you must be a US resident, because I don't want to have to spend money on international shipping.
Well,
That sucks. But like if you have a large painting you're giving away and shipping is, $100, then that is gonna probably not be worth it to even do the giveaway if you're gonna spend that money. So
Right.
I realized, I can't remember if I said that. If I said in this last giveaway, I did, didn't I? I said you had to be Dallas area or Austin area, because I was like, oh crap, I didn't say US, because I always do that, because I don't want to, like you said, deal with having to do any kind of overseas shipping, and that's just really pricey. I don't mean to be discriminatory. It really is expensive.
It's
Discriminatory
wrong
is a
with
pain
that.
in the butt.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
pocketbook.
It's your giveaway.
I've tried to work with brands that are in Australia or in Europe that are smaller. And some of them wouldn't even work with me because they're like, it's honestly not even worth it for shipping costs right now, because international shipping is such a nightmare, especially around Christmas time, that it wasn't even worth it for them to sell it to me. So it's totally reasonable. But I swear every single time you don't include something like that, you're going to have an international winner.
Uh-oh.
Not setting up your online shop right. Okay, so.
Oh God, seriously.
So, like I was saying, the FTC is monitoring brands a lot more closely now with the rise of influencers, and people like Kim Kardashian, celebrity endorsements being a bigger deal. And a lot of them, specifically celebrities or people like Britney, they just don't, some of them just don't care what they put on social media. It's genuinely just for show. It's like a dog and pony show. It's just however many clicks they can get is what they want. They don't really care what the message is. And that is what the FTC is cracking down on. So
Finally.
I know, right? When a ton of people started dying because Khloe Kardashian was like, oh, take this pill and you'll lose all this weight.
Right.
My best friend in the entire world took a diet pill that her sister gave her. Her sister had been taking them for years and was totally fine, but her sister gave her a diet pill one day, and she ended up on the ER that night. Her husband came home and she was passed out on the couch, and she had to pick her unconscious body up and take her to the ER, and they revived her. So, I mean, you just never know. You never know. People are sensitive. It happens.
Yeah, you got to be careful social media, I don't think people realize how far their reach is, per se,
Exactly.
You
And
gotta
people
be
they don't mean to hurt people. They don't
Yeah, it's
have
not malicious.
malintent. It's just when you're not intentional about your business and what you're doing.
Intentional, yes.
And
I always say you need to be aware. Just be aware of other than yourself. Go outside your bubble.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of people, it's very hard for them to do.
Yeah.
But we're
That's
women,
why
so we can do that, right?
Help us.
Yeah.
So what we're kind of talking about at the very beginning, privacy policies, data collection, email practices, and terms and conditions. This is typically really boring stuff, but I'm going to get through it, and then we'll go through some examples too. That'll make more sense. So like I said before, the terms and conditions page is essentially the contract terms of your website. So there's something called contract privy, which is what tethers someone to a lawsuit. You have to have standing, some sort of connection to case at hand. You can't be a random person deciding like, oh, I don't like this, I'm going to sue. So if you do not have terms and conditions on your site, there's nothing tethering that person to the terms of your website. So they could literally get on there and blast profanities up, down, and left, and it could be on your site. And there's just nothing you can really do about it until you get your web person up and going to take it down. You can't even block that person from your site because technically they didn't do anything wrong. Even if you didn't like it, you need to, and you can, there are ways you can block specific IP addresses if they're going to be doing stuff like that. And this gives you a way to sue them. This is also where I put all of my disclosures. If I do have disclosures that I need to give, like the medical disclosure we talked about earlier, or an endorsement disclosure, like the, I made $100,000 in 100,000 followers, not dollars, in 30 days. That is an endorsement that you need to give a disclosure for.
Oops, that's okay.
Ask away.
No, it's okay. What was I gonna ask? Is there something out there? Do you have to get a lawyer involved to do your terms and conditions, or is there something out there where you can go and pay for it on a website? You know what I mean? Like
my website, girl. I sell legal templates on my website. So I've got contracts. I've got your articles of incorporation. I've got privacy policies, terms and conditions. I've got
terms and conditions for me and privacy policies. Okay, I'll go there tomorrow.
I can send you the link.
Okay, thanks, Benny. Anyway,
Jasmine says awesome.
So she needs it too. We all need it. I'm going there tomorrow.
Right. That's
exactly actually really helpful because
website.
People are intimidated by attorneys. One, they're extremely expensive a lot of the time, and it's intangible, right? Like insurance is intangible.
Yeah.
Like you need it. You don't feel the money coming back to you of the work.
Yep.
Yeah.
And lawyers are scary. Lawyers, a lot of them, and I am a lawyer, a lot of them are dicks. Like, some lawyers are hard to work with, Yeah. I will say it's specifically the older men that are harder to work with. And again, one of the reasons that I try really hard to not be a normal attorney is because it's scary for people. I mean, anyone can sit there and be an asshole, but it takes a lot. I think you're a better attorney and you end up doing better in court, and even out of court. You end up settling better if you know your client and they feel comfortable telling you things, because it's the worst thing in the world when they don't feel comfortable telling you things and you find out something on the stand and it's too late to prepare a defense and you're fumbling for your words, which has happened to me before because this person didn't feel comfortable enough with me. So it totally happens. I've even seen women get on the stand who say like English is their second language, but they speak English perfectly fine. But when they get on the stand, they have to have an interpreter because they're terrified and they just default back to their first language because that is just when your fight or flight instinct, that's just what you do. So I've seen that happen before too. So it's totally normal. There's a reason that there's a ton of petitions and stuff going around now to have like service dogs and service animals in the courtroom, because it's traumatizing to get on the stand, especially if you were a woman and something happened to you, like domestic violence or sexual violence, even worse. I mean, there's a reason that those women don't come forward, and it's because it's awful. Sometimes I would say it's honestly not even worth it, because only 7% of rapists are ever convicted. It's insane. And there's tons of reasons for that, but the main reason is that women don't come forward because the system is so messed up. You have to literally be present and physically confront this person that has attacked you and possibly beaten you close to death. I mean, for some people, it's genuinely just not worth it. It's better to run. And I've had women literally run out of the state to get away from men. But And I've told them to do that because it was honestly the only thing they could do. I couldn't legally help them.
Yeah.
And and it's a very sad situation, but it happens. I don't even remember what I'm on a tangent about that now. How we got on that.
we were talking about attorneys being, what I said, I like the
Attorneys are scary.
documents online.
Yeah.
You know, that's nice
You're-
for people to be able to access.
Yes.
Yeah,
yes.
you're approachable, and yeah, and then I feel like you've just explained how you're approachable in the sense of how you know, kind of coached your lady clients and things.
Oh
It
my
just shows
God.
that was a genuine example.
Yeah, I could talk forever about. So I've been a family lawyer for 7.5 years, and I'm switching to this, and I have so many horror stories. I won't get on that tangent.
That's what a meetup's for. We need to have a
Yes.
meetup, and we can just chat it up.
That's
Yeah.
right.
Fun, right? I just need to get that on the book. Okay.
Yeah. So several things you need to consider for privacy policies. So in general, there is the FTC governs privacy policies as well. So they essentially will deem your website as fraudulent if you do not have privacy policies in place.
Well, when are they
Because-
going to come hunt me down? I've been
Yeah,
operating
exactly.
like,
And this
oh
is
god.
what, they're not going to hunt you. The FTC is not going to be the one that hunts you down. Who hunts you down is going to be an angry mom.
Right?
Yeah, I mean,
Angry moms.
like, let's just be honest. So
Mama bear.
like example number one, like, do you sell or advertise to
Ugh.
children at all? If you collect any data on children, there's a law that governs. Did I check out?
No, you're here.
Says my
Oh,
internet's
that was
unstable.
me. That was me reacting to what you were saying.
I'm sorry. So and this law was just not renewed, but looked at last year, and they just made additions and edits to the law. It's the Children's Online Privacy Protection Act, COPA, and essentially it's really intense now. If you collect information on children, you essentially have to affirmatively get a parent's consent now. So there has to be like a pop-up box on your website that says, like, do you consent? Are you under 18 years of age? Like a bunch of pop-up things you now have to have on there. Do
I'm
you have an
still
online
not sure how Snapchat is you know, even around. Like, I mean, my
Right.
son's 18, you know, but it's just, you know, talk about advertising to children. It's just crazy.
No kidding.
Yep, and
I was gonna-
where they have their terms and conditions is where you download the app. So as soon as you download the app, you're agreeing to their terms and conditions.
Oh my
So
goodness.
they can say, oh, we provided them, but
Yep.
yeah.
You forgot about that a million
Yep.
years ago. I was going to ask for Sarah, like her website. I don't even know if you already have this or not there, but like, do you have to have the like, are you 21 and up pop up on your site, Sarah? Because you're you're a
well,
bar?
so no, we don't sell anything that is and contains any alcohol. So, you know, everything that we, you know, per Texas law, anybody that hires us has to provide the alcohol.
Oh,
So,
that makes sense.
you know, we're
Okay.
providing all the mixers and the, you know, the bartenders, but a bartender could be a cocoa bar or you
Mhm.
know. So I get your thinking on that.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that.
Maybe
Duh.
Taylor could tell me if she thinks that would be something that I would need, but right now, looking at my business, I don't know. I don't think so.
I don't think so. If you,
No.
I could specifically look at that for you, but I don't think so because you're not, like you said, not selling alcohol. So the basic
I would.
rule is that you have to have something on your terms and conditions that say you do not sell anything or do anything for anyone under the age of 13. But it, again, can be listed in your terms and conditions, not like as a pop-up.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So if you have an online store, automatically you're going to be collecting data, and essentially your privacy policy, there are laws out there that say you have to disclose exactly how you collect and maintain and use, if you sell someone's data, all of that information is has to be disclosed on the website. So that's when I say an angry mom can sue you, it's they can sue you because you were selling and advertising to their children. Or, you know, you fit any of these other laws. So there's a specific law for if you sell to California residents, there's a specific California law that your privacy policies have to adhere to. If you sell
Gotcha.
internationally to people in the EU, there's a specific international regulation that applies if you sell to international people. And there's like, what, 10 countries in the EU? Like, I might be way wrong, but it's a group of countries.
Yes.
In the EU, not just one. Any type of email marketing is governed by the Can Spam Act, which also governs pornography. It's a very strange act that governs both pornography and email marketing.
That's
Because it
interesting.
came about in 2003 when the internet came of age and came into all of this internet porn, and they had no regulations, and so they decided to throw that in with email marketing.
What about when your website platform, like your host or whatever? I feel like Squarespace. I feel like they
collect like
I
IP addresses and all of that information, and that is
Yeah.
also a reason that you need to disclose that.
Okay, I didn't know if like that was something I would have to. I don't know. I guess I have to put that out there instead of like I don't feel like that's something they. Hey, if you go to a website that uses Squarespace.
And what I do in that
Yeah.
instance is instead of listing, like trying to dig through and find, like what information do they collect, what I do in that instance, I essentially will just say, this is per, Wix terms of use on this. And then I will just like hyperlink it there and say, please read their policies on this issue. And then send them to those privacy policies so that they're linked, and if they update their policy, then it's always going to be linked on there as well.
Okay. There's a chat for you from Miss Jasmine. She says, if I offer a service, which I don't sell any products because she does interior decorating and things like that, do I still need all of these terms in my website? As an interior designer, excuse me.
Yes. So actually, could you repeat the question, because I can't see the question because I'm on
That's
presentation
okay. Yeah,
mode,
I figured you had your screen not there. She says, if I offer a service, because she's an interior designer, obviously she doesn't sell products, that it's her service. Do I still need all of these terms in my website? She goes, as an interior designer, my website is mainly my portfolio for people to contact me.
Okay. So in that instance, you do still need a terms and conditions form, but it can be like a very basic one. It doesn't have to be one where you have provisions like for California residents or things like that, because you're not selling something, but you do need to. So does she do any email marketing at all, or does she collect anyone's email addresses on her website?
Jasmine, I don't know if you can hear that. She says, no, she does not collect email addresses.
Okay. I would still say you need to have a basic policy in place, because a privacy policy in place in the very least, because you need to have disclosures in there like that you don't advertise or do anything for children under 13. How your, like you're saying, your back end web host collects data, very basic things like that. But all of this other, like advertising to children, California residents, email marketing, all of those specific regulations will not apply to you. That I can answer.
Yeah, I collect data.
I do too. I'm like, give me your information.
So
I use it. She's cry laughing. She said, thanks. Yeah, I use it for like my newsletters and stuff. Or if I do a blog post, I collect that information so I can, I guess I need it.
To stay in contact with your customers.
So if I have someone go onto because normally people will contact me through like the Knot or something, but if they come to my website, which happens a lot, they're putting in their name, their email, possibly their phone number and stuff. So I need to have something in place for those situations. Where does your terms and conditions go?
Like for that.
In your what? I'm sorry?
In your footer.
The footer.
Okay.
Like a hyperlink in your footer, right? Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the reason I say the footer, you can put it on your header too, but I think the footer is typically what people do. And because the footer shows up on every single web page, so you're covered on every single web page.
Okay, so then I don't do my webpage, and I'm going off of my like a basic technological knowledge here. But you know, so like when somebody pops up on Darlin's website, at the bottom it's just got the little terms and conditions. So if you go to the packages page, at the bottom it's the terms and conditions, or if the contact page is the bottom, it's terms and conditions.
Because it's in the footer. Yeah, it always
Okay.
the footer's
The header and the footer are always the same. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So then that way you're covered on every single page of your website, and you don't have to second guess yourself. And because I mean, who wants to put it on every single page of their website? That's a hassle that nobody wants.
Yeah. Here's my bar and my terms and conditions.
Right? Yeah. Everyone loves.
Priorities.
Right. So
Awesome.
So essentially, in person, you do this when someone checks out with you in person, right? With Square, PayPal, Venmo, no matter what, all of these payment platforms, they ask for your information. So whether you're doing it in person or online is the same. It's just that I see more people, they will adhere to policies in person and then not do it online, because I don't know why, but some people just feel like if it's online, it just doesn't matter, I guess. I don't know.
But it does.
It does.
Yeah.
Okay, so for terms and conditions, God, this is easier for me if I got into, I'll just do examples of this. So terms and conditions specifically for creatives are important because you can lay out things like, so if you're, say, a photographer, for example, I focused on photographers in February, so I've got that in the back of my brain. You need terms that say upon delivery, there is no refund. Because who wants to take photos and then say, oh, I want to no, you've already done the actual photo taking, done the edits, put in hours of work, you're not getting a refund. But that person can request one if you don't have that term in place. Another one is going to be delivery terms. How are you going to deliver the photos to the person? Copyright provisions are a huge one for anyone with any photos or any pieces of art on the website. Need to have those in there, and kind of why we talked in the beginning, because you can't really sue anyone if they're not tethered by some sort of contract in place.
Yeah.
And photographers. What else was the last one? Something else related to images, but
There you are.
you get my gist. There are very specific disclosures that need to be given. Coaches are another huge example. They make a lot of claims saying, like, I mean, there's 1,000 like nutrition coaches or fitness coaches or social media coaches. They all make claims that are pretty astronomical, to be honest, because they're not what a typical person's going to get. And you need those disclaimers on your website to protect yourself, because then you can just be sued by your client. And that's bad news bears.
Yeah, and a lot of these people I don't think have websites, right? You're talking about like these Instagram influencers and stuff like that. Like you can just book through the DMs or whatever, you know, kind of craziness there's all.
Yeah, you can push that little button. Book now.
And Instagram just allowed and users under 10,000 to get the link in their stories. So yeah, now literally even tiny influencers can link to things directly from their Instagram. So
I was so excited when that finally came through. So I was like, really? Seriously? I'm never going to hit 10,000. So give the little guy a break. And then I saw that, and I've been using the mess out of that in my story.
I have too. I mean, even just for blog posts, it's so helpful to have, because so many people won't click your link in bio or like don't know what you mean by.
I don't guess I know what y'all are talking about. Can you give me
so when you're like doing an Instagram story, you know how like you're like telling them, you're like directing them to go to like a specific website or page. You actually now get to, when you go to like a sticker, you know, when you go to an Instagram story and you do like your picture and you can add a sticker, you can now add a sticker where it says link, and then you can edit that link to say what you want. Like lately for Girl Flock's event next month, I've been putting RSVP. Not RSVP, buy your tickets here. And it goes to my Eventbrite site. I've been dying for the feature forever, and it was only available to those that had like 10,000 followers or more.
Oh, very cool.
So it's
Y'all are
good,
gonna
like, if
see
you want
something
to
for me tonight. I'm gonna put that up.
I know, I'm serious.
It's the best. I use it constantly.
It's godsend.
Yeah, that's cool. Okay, sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry about
Yeah, because a lot of times in your stories, or I've started noticing that the people that see my stories, you know, you can see who sees your stories, but they're not necessarily the same people that are liking my posts. So they're two separate groups of people that you can hit.
That's true.
Yeah.
True. Yeah. Cool. Cool.
So yeah, like you can do your website and then show a cool picture on your story, but then put the link directly to your website instead of having some kind of call to action where you're telling them and go through this whole maze, go to my profile and click the link, and it's such a mess. But yeah, it's a godsend for us small guys trying to do advertising.
Yes. Just trying to get someone to read a blog post and like educate themselves. Like it's just, they don't know where to click or where to go.
Yeah, you got to do things a little more layman's
It's gotta be
terms.
fast.
Exactly.
Ah, look at that in bold print.
I almost put a cuss word and I was
you.
like, no, I need to be PG. Like, and this is PG for me, you guys. I cuss like a sailor. Very sorry. I haven't really let it slip tonight, so doing very well.
Yeah,
I'm trying to be professional. You know, some of y'all don't know me in real life, but at the same time, this is a professional group. But yeah, that's probably one of my
This is the nicest
best
way I
words
could
there.
possibly say this.
Don't be
I mean,
a D.
doing family law, you would not believe the things I've heard and seen people do to their family members, like let alone
it makes
people
you
that they
cynical,
don't necessarily
I'm sure.
care about. Like,
yeah.
it's astonishing, you guys. So that's the nicest way I can put it, that I've seen some people, I mean, literally sit across from me and just bawl because they got completely screwed over from thousands of dollars and there's nothing I can do. So it's just really sad. So contracts, you've got to have one in place. So
but for
I'm sure you have a contract, Sarah, for
Yeah,
it
needs a review.
And I also do contract reviews too, if you ever want me to look at yours and like.
No, I was just gonna say, expecting a private message from me after today.
I love it. I'm so
I go through HoneyBook. I don't know if you've ever heard of that, but it's it allows you to send proposals, and there's a contract that they already had ready.
Okay,
and
that's great.
And you do invoicing through, so it's this really great thing. But I know it's missing stuff. I know, and also so we'll talk.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, and I wonder too. I know Jasmine she's on the mutes, but yeah, Jasmine, I don't know too. I know if you use like contracts and stuff, so
I'm sure. Yeah,
I'm sure. I mean, I would, just because I'm sure you're styling some like very wealthy people's houses, and I don't know why, but wealthy people don't like to pay their bills.
A letter.
I don't know why, but they don't. It's really annoying. And also I can see someone just being like, oh, I don't like your style. I don't like this. I want a full refund to get out of my house. And like, that's worst case scenario, obviously. But you could catch someone in a bad mood. And that happen, you need a contract just to protect you in that instance and make sure you get paid. And
Taylor,
some of the,
is there a difference? I'm sorry, I mean,
no, go ahead. I would rather answer your questions than go through like essential contractors.
No, it has to do with contract. Jasmine has a good point. She said she has a letter of agreement. Is there a difference between the two?
No.
And one would be better than the other for a certain situation?
So that is just another word for a contract. And honestly, it just depends on the specific terms of the contract.
The terms in the contract.
Mm-hmm. Like what it says. The title doesn't really matter. That you can write anything. Am I back?
Yeah, you're back.
Okay.
You're back.
Yeah, the title doesn't really mean anything at all. It's just, so you don't have to worry about it. The title doesn't mean
it. Okay. She says interior designers word it that way most of the time. Like she believes that that's kind of like their lingo.
Industry standard, and that should be the same thing. And again, it's just going to depend on the terms inside of the agreement. So Texas has a four corners rule, which essentially means that they just look at the document itself, what it directly says. And if they can, in any possible way, let's say if something is not clear, if they can in any possible way make it clear by just using the existing terms of the contract, no other terms. So say like you've had a phone conversation where you laid out all the terms, none of that is admissible. Doesn't matter. So it has to be in the forecourt, it has to be in the agreement. So it's just specifically depends on the exact words of your agreement, what it says and how that's going to protect you.
Okay.
So get one specifically drafted by an attorney. Do not use LegalZoom. It literally makes me want to cry inside when people tell me they use LegalZoom. Like at least HoneyBook, like I haven't seen their contracts, but I would give them more credit than LegalZoom, honestly. Because being in the wedding industry, there's a lot of angry bridezillas. You're going to get sued sometimes. So I would assume that it's probably pretty good. I don't know that for certain, but I would assume that.
You know, I read through it, and with the knowledge I have from my actual job, I felt like it was good, but I'm not a professional. And also, you know, state specifics are when you worry, right? Because HoneyBook is not state specific.
Mm-hmm.
And neither is LegalZoom. Yep.
Right. So it's good to have a professional look at it. Again, when you're a newbie, you know, you're watching your dollars, and not to say that you shouldn't pay for that value. There's a huge value there. But if you're not
making money, doesn't necessarily make sense to outspend yourself.
Yeah, you don't want to outspend yourself, but there's a happy medium, I think. So
totally. And that's kind of what I try and do with my blog. So like I charge $275 for my law firm clients, but for I just charge basically what I would charge for an hour's worth of work for my contracts. And I charge $150 at most on any of my documents online. Because it's too expensive to sit and pay like $300 for a contract. And I've looked at the competition, and the other competitions out there. There are other legal templates out there, but they're a lot more expensive. Right. And I just don't think it's worth that, because a lot of what attorneys do is piggyback on other attorneys' contracts or agreements, or I mean, we even have legal software that literally we like plug in a person's name and their address and their information, and it spits out a pleading. So I just feel kind of bad. Like, and obviously you then go through and you have to make edits and make it like the custom pleading, but it's kind of just not right, I feel like, to, especially for a very, very small business owner starting out in the very beginning. It's just not worth it to spend that amount of money when you don't have the money to put into your business, and you need to pay your bills. And in the beginning, you're probably living paycheck to paycheck, and I feel guilty. So I only charge $150. I also do legal consulting for increments of 30 minutes and an hour, and I charge $150 for an hour and $75 for 30 minutes. Okay. And then I also do a free 15-minute initial consultation.
Okay.
Yeah. I was going to ask
you're giving us like $400 worth of information.
No kidding.
Right now, girl. So we're happy. We're happy.
Thank you. I know. And Taylor's doing this all like for us as a pro bono.
I mean,
I was going to ask you part of a contract. I'm sorry, Sweetness. Part of a contract. Would that also be like registering trademarks, filling out a 501c3,
C3,
stuff like that?
I don't even know what that is. Do I need to have one of those?
For a nonprofit, so
nonprofit.
Okay.
Well, and I'm like asking because like for Girl Flock Party, it's a networking group, but I feel like people, it's with me getting started, it's not a business, and I'm not making money off this group by any means. That's not my situation. What I'm trying to think of is, do I need to be that for people to understand what we are and what we're doing, so that's another thing up my sleeve I need to figure out, and that's probably a consultation.
Yeah, I would love to talk to you about that. I've actually been the president of 2 nonprofits, so I know the ins and outs
Dang, girl.
of nonprofit world. Had to fill out those forms myself as president. It's a nightmare, but I can help you. And also you
Okay,
get like
we'll
tons of free
sidebar
tax
that.
breaks. So I mean, and you can still make a profit. It just can't be like a huge margin. It has to be within like specific limits. So
That makes sense. Well, we'll sidebar that situation, girl. I got so much to. How about not to undersell you? I'll buy you a drink and we'll talk. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah.
No, it's gonna happen. Like I'm gonna have to have somebody do my paperwork.
I've literally, one of my friends owns a chicken farm and kills the chickens, sells the eggs, kills the chickens, and then sells the chickens themselves. They're all like, market fresh and all this. And sorry.
They hug the chicken. They hug it.
They hug it, yes, and then sell it to you.
Real tight. They hug them really.
She offered to pay me in chickens though, and I was like, girlfriend, I love you, but I don't love you that much.
I eat meat. I just don't want to know where it comes from.
It was just like the strangest offer I'd ever been offered was payment in chickens. I was like, I'm sorry, I can't accept that.
Girl, you want some chicken fillets or whatever? Some
I
cutlets?
love chickens, but I live in an apartment. I can't even have a dog, so like, let alone like a chicken. So
No.
okay.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm trying to honestly remember what I was even saying. Oh, okay. This is one of the contracts I've sent. So I do contract review. I love doing it for bloggers, but I will do it for anybody because a contract is a contract. And people love to throw legal jargon in there just for fun. But you will say things like this. This was the worst. I was like, don't you ever agree to ever be liable to the People's Republic of China?
Like, what in the world?
Yeah, like, and all of these, like, first of all, these are not like Taiwan. We all know the issues going on with China and Taiwan. Like, why is there's so many things going on in this agreement, but this essentially says that if you ever want to do anything, like even say like someone was hurt by your review and you get sued and then you want to sue them, so that you can recover some of these damages for giving you that liable product, you would have to go to China to do it. And I've had people run to China before to avoid child support, and you have to literally, even if you sue in the United States, you have to get the pleadings transcribed in Chinese to even serve an American person that speaks only English in China. Like, it is such a nightmare. Like, it's almost impossible. They can run to China and it's almost impossible for you to ever recover any sort of money. So,
wow.
And I was able to tell her this, and she renegotiated and they agreed to apply the law of the state of where she lived. So
yeah,
way better.
So that is just, why is that even in there? Like, why?
Because the brand came up
Did
with
that
it, and
person
they
that
want
had
people
that
to sign it
contract
without reading it.
About that there?
People want to screw you over. I'm telling you.
Oy vey.
They really don't care. So this is an intellectual property right clause, which is just not even a good one. This was, why would you ever want, okay, liquidated damages are a thing that someone is allowed to incur against you. And it has to be specifically stated like this. So this is a liable provision that would be upheld in court, and you would have to pay $100 to them for just because they didn't like your product evaluation or you didn't do it for some reason. And most of these contracts also say you have to do it within like a 2-week window. So non-submission would mean they didn't do it within your 2-week window.
So this is teaching us also not only to have contracts, but also to read the contracts, like what we're signing, like, geez.
Yes. And I mean, I do it too. Like, no one really, reads like Apple's terms and conditions. Like, no one really does that. But if you have a contract that you're doing as a small business owner, it's especially important. And especially if you don't have that LLC protection already, you need to, in the very least, have a contract in place protecting you. Yeah. And with that, I'm going to give y'all a bonus how to sign a business contract.
What a segue.
Oh. No, my reel is working.
She's so cute, I
That's
swear.
Okay, next page, just I'll show you how to actually do this. So if you sign a contract that does not look like this, your signature does not look like this, then you're personally liable for that contract, which is not good, guys. So, and like this again happens to so many people. A lot of business contracts will already have the by designation on them. And that's why it looks like this, because they want you to sign in your business capacity. So, but I will tell you who does not do this.
We need to sign our name and position?
And that's like a mandatory thing. If like, and I learned this literally day one of business entities. If you're not listing your position and the company you work for, then you were not signing under your official position and under your official authority.
I don't think
Signing in
my
your own
HoneyBook
personal
one does that. I'm looking it up right now. But it has my name, but I don't know if it has owner.
Yeah.
Okay. Well,
But like when somebody's signing our contract, they're just signing it. We don't need to know what.
their position
Yeah.
is user.
I mean, because
What did
technically,
you say,
like,
Sarah?
I said
I
their
mean-
position is purchaser.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do I need to have that?
you can if
Sponsor?
you want, and then it just depends on if whether or not the client wants to sign in their personal or company like capacity.
Well, like what you kind of did an online one when you checked out the sponsorship, but like,
Yes.
do I need
And-
you to be like Taylor Tomanka, sponsor?
For sponsorship contracts, I would say no, because it's not really. I mean, I can't imagine what you would possibly sue over. It's not like
It's a gift.
right. It's
I
a
could be
gift.
mad
It's a
at you.
donation. It's not
You don't
necessarily
give me
like.
the donation. Yeah,
And I mean,
but I asked for
honestly,
payment up front.
right.
They could sue me for not doing all the things I said no. Like I didn't advertise them and all that, right?
Right. And like, if you're signing in your personal capacity, then that's not good. You want to be signing in your LLC capacity.
Okay.
So I just
So-
looked. No, it doesn't have it. It just says Sarah A. Mitchell. But I just signed one and I put owner after it. So I was like,
And that's better than nothing. If you don't have the ability to make your own contract like on Word and have this specific way that it is, then what I would do is put your name, owner of XYZ
Yeah.
company. And then that way you're listed on there as long as go away.
Taylor. Okay, you said sign your name, what?
Oh God.
yeah.
Only the most important part.
Yeah.
So, okay, sign your name, owner of XYZ corporation or
Oh.
company or whatever. And then, because they let you fill in like however many characters on a one line for your name.
Yeah, no,
And
it'll let me probably type a book. I just didn't know. I didn't.
Yeah.
Dang it.
Yeah. So I mean, you'll probably be fine. Moving forward though, I would definitely use the way to.
Good to
Oh
know.
yeah, I feel like Sarah and I don't know about Jasmine, but we got some homework to do.
Oh
I
yeah,
know.
and I mean I've given a presentation on how to sign business contracts to a group of grumpy old men and that have owned businesses for 30, 40 years, and they didn't know they were signing contracts wrong. So I mean, it's
Ooh,
not
That's good to
it's
know.
not just you guys. It's not. It's everybody. It's just if you don't have an attorney to walk you through the process, there's just so many things that it's overwhelming and it's too complicated for a normal person.
It is. And you're trying to do all the other parts of the business.
Yeah, you're trying
This is
to fill
important.
all the roles.
right.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, finances alone is a nightmare for it. Takes me at least a day and a half to do our billing and accounting for my law firm.
Yeah.
It's such a nightmare.
Yuck.
So Jasmine said yes, that includes her as well with the homework. But she had a question way in the beginning. She says, I have a question. My husband's corporation was opened in New Jersey in 2014. He is a truck driver. And now we live in Texas. Is there a way to move the company to Texas? We do not want to close it and open another one at this point.
Yes, there is. And you
Cool.
do need to do that because you are now transacting business in the state of Texas and no longer New Jersey. And it's a simple filing with the Secretary of State. Did I go again?
Please.
Can you see me?
Not you, Taylor. I'm just, every time we're like, it's like a cliffhanger. Like you get, you
What was
got
the last
right
thing
to
I
the
said?
juicy part right when it cut out. Okay.
What do we need to do, Taylor? What?
It's just a simple filing with the Texas Secretary of State's office. It's called a certificate of amendment. And honestly, they provide the form online.
Cool.
So you can fill it out yourself. And it is very, very simple and easy. I filled one out for a business the other day, and I don't think that there anything that should trip you up. But if you have any questions, like feel free to do a 15-minute free consultation and I can like walk you through it. But the form is literally, you can Google Texas Secretary of State Certificate of Amendment and the form should pop up.
I was
It's
gonna
just-
think it wouldn't be an open and shut thing. I would think it would be like an amendment, right?
Yeah.
She
It's
said,
just
thank
basically
you.
to let the state of Texas know, like, hey, I'm here, so you should tax me.
Right.
And you want to switch from New Jersey to Texas because we have better tax laws. Like Florida and Texas, we don't have business taxes. We have real property taxes. So it's way better to switch that over statewide too.
Yeah, I got a random bill from the state or whatever about Darlin, like the camper. Like you owe property taxes, and I'm like, what? It wasn't a lot, thankfully, but still, like I had no idea. You know,
We owe property taxes on our leased office in Abilene too, because that was written as part of our contract.
Wow.
Yeah.
They will find you. They're like Liam Neeson. They will find you.
Yes, and it was a building of, it was 15-story building. It was a lot of businesses that were in it, and every single room was appraised at a certain value. And you had to pay the appraisal value.
that was some
crazy.
good contract writing. The owner of that building did that right. He played that well.
Yeah, the owner of the building is
I would
like a
not have thought of that.
multinational corporation, so they have
like
some
you paid
attorneys in their
the tax.
pocket.
All right.
Yeah, that is craziness. Well, Tay, you said are we at the end of our road? Any more Q&A?
We are. If anyone has questions, feel free. Or I can also give like all this information to Melanie and like you can shoot it out or whatever, like with my I have a Calendly link, so you can like set up a consultation with me and like we don't have to go back and forth or anything. So I can send all that to you.
That would be. I'll definitely be in touch with my contract for sure. I've been needing to do that anyways.
Yeah.
So it's nice to have a trusted person that I can reach out to.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'll
yeah,
have
and I'm
to
local,
get together
so.
and meet in person too. On top of all this, like talk real life.
Yes, I'm always, and I just moved here, so I'm always looking for friends.
Yeah. And we're fun, dang it.
Yeah.
Obviously, we're the ones that showed up. And my apologies again, too, we talked about this. I was like, people have been RSVPing, but then they haven't attended. And I know things come up. And so I appreciate you doing this for us.
Yeah.
And then if I can definitely get the video, they're going to have a lot of humor and craziness to go through to get to the good nitty gritty parts, but that's us entertaining them. But yeah, that, and I guess you said you also have the presentation itself, maybe whatever I can to provide to those that couldn't attend. That'd be awesome.
It has all the law and stuff on. Yeah, I will definitely do that. I'll send you the PDF and also the recording, like all of the things. I'll send you.
Like Sarah said, this is like so much worth, that you've given us for free. So I appreciate that.
Jasmine's in. She said she's in for future.
Yay, Jasmine!
I know, it was bummed I missed the last one. I missed the last Girl Flock little meetup.
The meetup?
It was right around the corner from my house. And
I know.
Yeah, that's a big.
So we had a meetup in November, Taylor, and I don't know, Jasmine, if you knew her or not. We went to Wrench Brewery and everything. But you got to go to what? A Texas Tech game? Sarah? Like that's when your friend
Yeah,
was in
it wasn't
town?
even
Or
for
you
me.
left to go?
It was for my girlfriend who had broken up with her boyfriend.
Oh,
And
God.
she's all emotional, so I drove it all the way there on a Saturday for the game and all the way back on Sunday.
Oof.
So I really wanted to be at the thing, right? But I love her, so we were there for her, and that's what matters. But
Yeah, you're awesome. You're a true girlfriend. That's awesome, honey.
well, I'm not doing
Well, it's definitely when this weather gets acting right. I was even thinking about throwing in like a coffee meetup this weekend, but I don't know. I'm getting texts from people saying, "Do you realize how cold it is this weekend?"
Yeah,
I
it's gonna
don't
be
know.
so nuts. Yeah.
Maybe we'll wait. We'll wait one more weekend or two. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. As founder of Girl Flock Party, I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, it's
I'm
awesome. Thank
hoping
you
this
for-
keep going.
Yeah.
Yeah, and again, I would love to do another one. So like if y'all think of any topics or have any more questions, like feel free to throw them my way so I can like get started working on some.
No,
Oh my
this is
gosh.
great. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, ladies.
Really.
All right. Well, we'll be in touch. Have a good evening. And Taylor, if you want to throw that to me tomorrow, don't worry about tonight. If you want to get all that to me tomorrow or even just this week, no worries. So
Cool.
I'm not going to make you do homework like us.
It happens.
Night. Y'all have a
Bye,
good
guys. Bye.